Usually towards the end of high school, young people and their parents will come together and they'll have the talk about what it is that the young person should do for the rest of their lives in terms of their professional calling. And if there hasn't been a foundation laid before this particular serious moment comes, chances are you'll see two people or two entities on different planes. The young person will say, I want to do this, this, and this. And the elder generation will say, you should do this, this, and this. And frequently, these two things don't make any sense, nor do they relate to each other at all. Therefore, today I'd like to talk to you about 4 times where you should talk to your son or daughter about what it is they should do with their life so you can avoid a confrontational episode when this point comes and a true decision needs to be made. The first time is actually during puberty. Yes, puberty. In other words, this is the time of life when obviously a lot of hormones are raging. I don't need a scientific study to tell you that, or you don't need a scientific study to realize it. However, what is important though is that a study was done here by William Damon in this book called The Path to Purpose. He highlights the study which says that during puberty, what happens is with elevated hormone levels, experiences are often magnified. In other words, if your child gets spaghetti for the first time during puberty and they really like it, chances are they will eat it for the rest of their lives. Likewise, if they get broccoli for the first time in puberty and they really, really don't like it, chances are they're not going to touch the stuff for another decade. The same thing goes with career interests. In other words, if they have a first-time experience with a possible career during that time, chances are that can stick, and it can stick a very long time. So it's important to kind of have that conversation a little bit and say, hey, what are you into? What are you looking at? What are you interested in? Those kinds of things. Because during that time, that's when things tend to stick. Give you an example. Say, for instance, if someone asks you what your favorite song is, more often than not, the song you will name is a song that you heard the first time when you were in puberty. And that's one of the effects of this hormone, elevated hormone levels and what it can do to your brain in terms of sticking power and staying power, in terms of your favorites and in terms of your dislikes. The second time frame I'd like to talk to you about is the first year of high school. And that, of course, is when you get the opportunity to pick for your child, or your child gets to pick whether or not they go to a college track or whether or not they're going on a trade track. In other words, are you going to take the math, the science, the English, the liberal arts studies that are going to be qualifiers to get into a college or university, or are you going to take more of the technical courses that would make you qualified to go into a trade? That's a decision that's got to be made at that particular point, and it's important to have that discussion with your child in terms of, hey, what is it that you want to do? What is it that you feel more apt to be doing? In other words, do you feel like you're more cerebral or do you feel like you're more technical? And make a decision along those lines there as well. Third time that you should have a talk is at the beginning of the sophomore year in high school. And this particularly applies to those of you who have students that are going to be going to college. The reason this is important is because when it comes to that first part of the first year of sophomore year, that's when grades really, really start to count in terms of colleges. A lot of colleges will give a student a pass on their freshman year grades because chances are it's a new school, it's a new experience, new friends, new climate, got to get used to it. Some jitters can be there. The grades may not be there because the confidence wasn't there in the first place. So you can get a little bit of a pass on the first year. Sophomore year, junior year, first half of senior year, it's on. And at that point, you do need to be able to talk to your teenager about the fact that, yeah, this is where grades really do matter. If and only if you're going to college after the high school years are done. And the fourth time you should talk to your son or daughter about this is, of course, right near the end of high school when you're starting to make that college choice, when it's January before graduation. And you're saying, all right, are you sure you want to go to this particular college? Are you sure you want to go to this particular trade school? How sure are we about this attitude? In other words, you don't have to have the career picked out, but you should have the direction pretty much nailed down in terms of where they want to go. Because then at that point, whatever post-secondary education they take on, whether it be college, whether it be trade school, whether it be something else, whether it be straight into the workforce, whether it be going into the military, they get a chance to slingshot themselves by using that post-secondary training to slingshot them straight towards the career that they want, or that they think they desire. And that's going to give them a heads up over everybody else in competition for the same jobs. So those are 4 times that you need to be talking to your child about what it is that they want to do with their life. Again, puberty, right at the beginning of their freshman year of high school, at the beginning of their sophomore year of high school, and then January of senior year of high school, in terms of nailing down exactly when it is, where it is that they want to go after high school. So again, thanks for joining me. Hope that works for you and your son or daughter if you're having those conversations. And again, never let your dream die before you do, and never let your kids' dream die before you do there as well. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.